Power struggle in the provincial councils. Leaked central bank report on government securities submitted to Presidential Commission. Superintendent of the Kalutara prison transferred. Minister Sajit Premadasa prescribes the death penalty for drug smugglers. Hello there, very good evening and welcome to your Primetime News Bulletin. I'm Shen Silva.
And I'm Arundhati Mudannaika. Let's take a look at the stories in detail now. An event to hand over 1,000 Mahaweli land deeds and develop high livelihoods was held today under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena.
The event was held at the Vidyaya College in Aralgangwila. By counting the number of heads that came to the May Day rally at Galface, some people thought they would be able to form a government on the very next day. When I was contesting the presidential election, you know who had the bigger crowds. Votes are cast during an election based on a number of factors, including the composition of the population, religious background, cultural background, ethnic issues, and how society has shaped the communities. If someone thinks they can bring a large number of people to one location and then think they can form a government the next day, that is a joke. Some say there was a great deal of development back then. The hidden debt behind this development is today the biggest issue plaguing the country. An individual who had 2 more years in his term called for an early presidential election because he had no way of handling this debt. They still have not answered as to why they held the election beforehand. Today, we are rescuing the country from foreign debt. We are creating economic development, and we are implementing a broad plan to take the country forward. Individuals who call for black flags to be raised to protest the arrival of the Indian Premier met with him at 11 p.m. The High Commissioner told me these people had requested a meeting. I said let them meet. Steps were also taken to distribute water filtration units and water tanks to schools and temples in the area.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says the One Belt, One Road summit will be important to creating spaces for the growth of global trade. The 2-day One Belt, One Road summit in Beijing, China concludes today. Now we are joined by Newsfirst Joel Outscroon reporting from Beijing.
Following the conclusion of the 2-day international conference titled One Belt, One Road Initiative here in China, President Xi Jinping expressed the following during a media briefing. Well, here are some of the important points which he addressed. He said that 68 countries, including international organizations, have now committed towards the One Belt, One Road initiative. He further went on to say that the roundtable discussions were very successful and that several agreements have been reached upon and that no political agendas will be included during discussions being held at the One Belt, One Road initiative. Well, President Xi Jinping further stated that it is in 2019 that once again the One Belt, One Road initiative will gather to discuss further topics of discussion.
Speaking at the event, Prime Minister Wickremesinghe said that the union of both major political parties in Sri Lanka has created the foundation for the people to receive economic growth and prosperity. The Chinese president had noted that while the Silk Route of the past had benefited through cultural and social connections, a road to peace and prosperity could be reached in the future if all involved made joint efforts. Chinese President Xi Jinping had expressed his belief that this roundtable conference would lead to the success of this effort to create a new space for development. The Chinese president also highlighted the importance for preparing a mechanism for policy coordination and to ensure regional security and stability.
India is a notable absentee from the One Belt, One Road summit in Beijing. Krishna Kumar, senior news editor of Republic TV, filed this report for News First.
29 heads of nations across the region came together for the Belt Road Initiative Summit in Beijing, except for 2 countries. One is Bhutan, which has no diplomatic ties with China. And the second is the most populous country in the region after China, that is India. India is conspicuous by its absence, and the reasons being given can be explained in 2 words, sovereignty and territorial integrity. These 2 are the reasons, and that's because the flagship project of the One Belt, One Road initiative is the CPEC, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. The $62 billion project aims to connect China with Pakistan. It runs all the way from Xinjiang in China to the Gwadar port in Pakistan, and that also runs through India's sovereign territory of Kashmir. And that is India's major concern. India has raised other concerns as well, talking about other countries' rising debt levels if they take part in this project. But over and above all of that, it is India's concerns in terms of its own security. That is the reason why India has chosen not to be a part of the summit organized by China in Beijing. Keep in mind, when the CPEC corridor becomes a reality, Chinese army will get access to Pakistan and India will be flanked by threats on both sides. And that is the reason why the Minister of External Affairs has said that China needs to be more transparent. Any project needs to be more transparent. It should come under the rule of law and it should take into account the sensitivity of sovereignty and territorial integrity. And that is the reason why India is not part of it. Now, India has chosen to right now stay away. China, on the other hand, has slammed India's decision, saying that India can choose to be a part of it later, but it will have a very minimal role. But for now, India is not in a position to comply with it simply because it faces threats on its own sovereignty and territorial integrity. This is Krishna Kumar reporting.
Taking a look at another one of our headline-making stories, a leaked draft report from the Central Bank of Sri Lanka deemed to contain market-sensitive information was presented before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry today. Now, the report was presented by the attorney representing former Governor Arjuna Mahendran.
The report has been prepared by the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank Group and provides technical advice on creating a system to issue government securities in the future. The report had been submitted to the Central Bank in December 2016. When it was produced, the witness, Deputy Governor Nandalal Veerasinghe, raised concern, citing its disclaimer, which noted that if it is to be given to a third party outside the IMF and the World Bank Group, approval from the respective authority of the country must be obtained. The Commission and the Attorney General's Department were surprised of this report being produced and questioned how it came to the hands of Mahendran's attorney. The attorney claimed to have privilege to the document. Despite it being leaked, the attorney stated that at a time when the Commission is in fact investigating government securities, the Central Bank has been hiding this report from the Commission. Additional Solicitor General Dappula de Oliveira stated that this report was not looked into as the Commission had explicitly noted that material that are under review and reform should not be submitted as they are still in the process of being finalized. The report was admitted as evidence after Dr. Veerasinghe contacted the Governor and obtained approval to comment on it. As this purportedly leaked document was market sensitive, for the first time in the Commission's history, the evidence was recorded in camera. Thereby, the press, including myself, was requested to move outside the Commission. In addition, former Governor Arjuna Mahendran was also requested to move outside the Commission. After the press was allowed in, the witness was questioned extensively on the statements he made to COPE regarding the Monetary Board meeting on the 23rd of February 2015. He will be cross-examined again tomorrow.
Meanwhile, Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe informed the Commission that Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy, has expressed concern over the leak and had said the Central Bank will probe how this report was leaked.
In your developing story tonight, political power struggles have gripped the provincial councils. 17 UPFA councillors from the North Central Provincial Council supporting the joint opposition have decided to sit as independents. While the councillors prepared to hand over affidavits against the Chief Minister to the Governor today, these affidavits were rejected by the Governor.
The North Central Provincial Council, whose term ends in September, comprises of 33 councillors. At the 2012 election, the UPFA won 21 seats and the UNP won 11 seats, while the JVP won 1 seat. The most recent incident, which has prompted the decision of 17 of the 21 UPFA councillors to sit as independents, is the removal of Provincial Health Minister K.A. Nandasena and replacing him with M. Herath. As such, the composition of the council would change to 17 independents, 4 UPFA councillors, 11 UNP councillors and 1 JVP councillor. The independent group, now in the majority, arrived at the Governor's residence today to submit affidavits against Chief Minister Peshula Jayaratna. However, Governor P.B. Dissanayake had refused to accept the affidavits.
Under the Act, the Governor has the power to refuse to accept affidavits. This is where the conflict arises. The Governor can refuse such a request. Second, the governor can consult with the president and dissolve the provincial council if it is unable to continue to function. Rumours are rife that UPFA councillors representing the joint opposition in the Southern Provincial Council are also preparing for a power shift.
The Southern Provincial Council, whose term ends in March 2019, comprises of 55 councillors. The UPFA won 33 seats, the UNP won 14 seats, the JVP won 5 seats, and the Democratic Party won 3 seats at the last election. What would happen to the balance of power in the Southern Provincial Council in the event the UPFA councillors representing the joint opposition decide to sit as independents?
There is no provision whatsoever in the current constitution of Sri Lanka or in the Provincial Council Act which allows for changing power and appointing individuals to positions. So these are just stories they say outside, but there is no legal basis.
The underlying tensions in the Central Provincial Council came to a head when Provincial Minister Pramit Bandara Tennakon resigned from his position.
Of the 58 seats in the Central Provincial Council, the UPFA holds 33 while the UNP holds 25. However, 11 of the 33 UPFA councillors are preparing to sit as independents. If this occurs, the composition of the council will change to 11 independents, 22 UPFA councillors and 25 UNP councillors, giving the UNP a majority.
It will be a minority government. We are able to form the majority required. But we have sought an opportunity to discuss these decisions with the UNP leader, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. As soon as he returns to the island, we will hold discussions with him and announce our decision. If the current Chief Minister does not receive our support, then the alliance will lose its power in the council. But I must note that we will not support the UNP in any way.
But if you become independents, that means the power of the UNP will increase.
The power of the UNP won't increase. We will be taking over the task of the opposition as well. I see all of the narrow actions taken by this alternative group or the group calling themselves the alternative force as an attempt to bring the UNP into power. By belittling the power held by the SLFP, this alternative group is shoring up the strength of the UNP. The question I have is whether those in the alternative group are loyal to the SLFP or if they are pulling for the UNP.
UPFA General Secretary Minister Mahinda Amaravira had this to say on the power struggles.
As the Secretary of the UPFA, I can say that all the Chief Ministers were appointed based on a letter from the UPFA Secretary. If a decision is to be taken regarding them, it will be done by the UPFA. All the councillors who say they will sit as independents were elected from the UPFA. If they are to go separately, they must leave the UPFA. If they violate discipline, then we will have to take steps against them. Minister of Rehabilitation and Resettlement D.M. Swaminathan has ordered the immediate transfer of the superintendent of the Kalutara prison. A statement issued by the Minister of Prison Reforms, Rehabilitation and Resettlement reads that the decision was taken based on a number of factors surrounding the shooting of 2 prison buses in Kalutara in February this year. The statement notes that the decision was prompted by the recommendations of the 3-member committee which investigated the incident, the attack on an inmate within the prison complex in connection with the killing of underworld figure Samayan, and the discovery of a mobile phone and tobacco concealed in a cabbage supplied to the prison's kitchen. Minister D.M. Swaminathan has instructed the Ministry Secretary to immediately transfer the prison superintendent and conduct a thorough investigation. The minister had declared that if prison officers are found to be guilty of wrongdoing in connection to any of these incidents, they are to be punished regardless of their status.
UPFA MP Kumar Welcome announced in Valigmada today that he would function as a joint opposition's organizer for the Badula district.
The MP made this statement following a meeting with representatives of the newly formed Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna or People's Front in Boralanda, Valimada. Mahinda Rajapaksa appointed me here because there isn't good leadership. Other than the Pradeshia Sabha members and urban councillors, we only have village people. He asked me to come here and organize the leaderless district. I am carrying out this task now.
දේශපාලඥයෝ ඒ අයගේ තරඟයට ඔබතුමාට මුහුණ දෙන්න පුළුවන් වේද?
It is the same for me everywhere in Sri Lanka. I have no use for the two of them.
කළුතර අතරදමා බදුල්ල දිස්ත්‍රික්කයේ එන විට කළුතර ජනතාව ඔබතුමා කෙරෙහි තියෙන විශ්වාසය කොතරම් දුරට තිබේද?
Son, the people of the Kalutara district have great faith in me. My son Senal is there too. He is in the provincial council. When a general election comes, we shall consider where we will contest from. State Minister of International Trade Sujiva Senasinghe expressed the following views at an event held in Maharagama today.
Certain leaders in our government have forgotten. They only include those whom they favor. It is okay if they include 2 or 3 favorites while also including about 7 or 8 talented persons. A cabinet reshuffle is coming and I believe a certain number of suitable individuals must be recognized. We hope that the president too will act correctly without trying to save himself or pass the ball. He knows who the talented people are and who work to bring him to power. I will not hesitate to even resign from politics if the injustice reaches a peak, but I will never change parties.
The Socialist Alliance convened a media briefing today.
Apparently there is an agreement that the ministries given to the ministers of the UNP will not change. However, it is likely that the subjects may change. The names of Dayasiri Jayasekara and SP Dissanayaka have been proposed. But the question is, will they be appointed like they say they will? Also, will the president will take some sort of decision on this? We are also awaiting the decision the cabinet will take on this.
Cabinet mandale තීරණය මොනවා වෙයිද කියන එක අපි බලන් ඉන්නවා.
According to statistics of the central bank, Sri Lanka's growth rate in 2016 is much slower than the growth rate in 2015. But according to Ravi Karunaika's numbers, it has increased. So the president must consider this and take a decision on whether this minister should remain there following the reshuffle. We have a singular request during this cabinet reshuffle. Change the prime minister. Remove the prime minister. If the prime minister is changed, then the Socialist Alliance and the joint opposition will support it. At the same time, the investigation into the actions of the prime minister in the criminal losses caused to the central bank is being suppressed.
In other local news, the Supreme Court today granted leave to proceed for a petition filed by Geeta Kumarasinghe challenging the annulment of her seat in Parliament by a decision of the Court of Appeal. Furthermore, the Supreme Court today determined that Geeta Kumarasinghe can continue to function as an MP until hearings of the petition conclude. After hearing a petition filed by 4 residents of Gaul citing that Geeta Kumarasinghe cannot function as an MP as she is a dual citizen, the Court of Appeal recently determined in favour of the petitioners. The petition filed by Geeta Kumarasinghe challenging this decision was taken up before a 3-member bench of the Supreme Court this afternoon. The bench granted leave to proceed and ordered that the petition be taken up on the 25th of September. The bench also ordered the suspension of the decision of the Court of Appeal until hearings of the petition conclude.
We have been given an opportunity to make submissions for our part and seek justice through our appeal. This is an important juncture in the history of the law of this country. I believe that the people too will be able to have great faith in the decision that is handed down. This is a very happy day for me. I have done no wrong to anyone. I am certain that I will receive justice.
The issue of dual citizenship also came up on the sidelines of other court cases taken up today.
Former Minister Basil Rajapaksa appeared before the Colombo High Court today on 3 charges, including spending 36.5 million rupees from the Divi Naguma department in the run-up to the 2015 presidential election to purchase GI pipes and distributing them to local government bodies. High Court Judge AAR Heyanthudua ordered that the case be postponed until the 26th of July. This was introduced through the 19th Amendment, so we shall see. It is the law and a part of the Constitution, so we shall see what happens. MP Rohit Abe Gunawardena, who is a defendant in a case filed by the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption, sought permission from court today to travel overseas until the 2nd of July. The Commission filed a case against Abe Gunawardena for owning money and property worth 41.2 million rupees, which he could not have accumulated as per his assets and earnings. If you are asked in which country are the police shot at, you can say Sri Lanka. If you are asked in which country the media council is attacked with bombs, you can say Sri Lanka. If you are asked in which country has the government failed to even build a culvert after 2 years and 5 months, you can say Sri Lanka. The door of good governance has been unhinged for the UNP. State Minister Sujiva Senasinghe says his PN has more strength than him. The henchmen are speaking of the behaviour of the leader. This government came in claiming that they would not put up a single signboard and that they would not incur unnecessary expenditure. Now flowers are blooming in the lake around Parliament. We don't know how much it cost to make these flowers bloom. If our government had done this, we would have been at fault. The good governance government cannot incur unnecessary expenses.
Tensions flared today between the health minister of the North Central province and area residents engaged in a demonstration against the failure of the authorities to renovate a road in Horowpathana.
A group of protesters had attempted to enter the divisional secretariat. This road has not been repaired in 50 years. We have informed authorities as much as we can. When we came to the coordination committee meeting today, they had padlocked the gate and the people's problems cannot be solved. It has been reported that while the demonstration continued outside, the Development Coordination Committee meeting was held inside the Divisional Secretariat building. The new Provincial Health Minister, Hewath Banda, alighted from the building to speak with the protesters. Elsewhere, a demonstration was held by residents in areas surrounding the Konduruwa Reserve in Polonnaruwa against a gravel excavation racket within the protected reserve. The protesters blocked the Giritale Bakamuna main road. There are 35 acres and they made false promises saying they would clear 13 acres and build a sports ground and use the gravel to build the road in the village and that they would regrow the forest. Nothing has happened as yet. Up to 1 kilometer from the center point of the Yoda Ala is a protected area of the Wildlife Department and our children are not allowed to enter. The farmers are not allowed to enter, but another law seems to apply in protected wildlife zones for large-scale racketeers. We request that the authorities save this area from the racketeers.
The 80th anniversary celebration of the Dabarwava National School was held today under the auspices of Minister Sajid Premadasa.
The minister gifted a semi-luxury bus to the school parallel to the 80th anniversary celebration. The bus gifted by Minister Sajid Premadasa with donations from a wealthy benefactor will benefit 3,205 students at the school. The minister also presented a financial gift to Madhushika, an exceptional student at the school. We all give the respect for winning the war to Mahinda Rajapaksa. It is the same today. I will not deny it. But I must ask, what happened to all the money spent on the war? Why was it not directed to building schools, homes and hospitals? The drug menace has become a major problem today. The drug menace has become more powerful than the rulers. As rulers, we have given complete freedom to the security sector to immediately arrest those engaged in this despicable racket. I have a proposal. All of those found engaging in the drug racket must be brought before the law and given the death penalty. The Health Ministry says steps have been taken to attach staff from rural hospitals in the Kurunegala district to the Kurunegala Teaching Hospital. The Director of Health Services in the Kurunegala district, Dr. Champa Alutvira, says this step was taken to address the shortage in staff to provide treatment for dengue.
All the hospitals are filled with patients and it is very difficult to mobilize the staff for the teaching hospital. But we will initiate this work in spite of the situation. Thorough operations are being undertaken in high-risk zones.
50 army personnel have also been deployed to the Kurunegala Teaching Hospital.
188 dengue patients and 87 patients suspected to have dengue are being treated at present. In-house treatment is continuing as needed. Steps are also being taken to clean up sites where mosquitoes can breed to prevent the spread of dengue within the hospital.
The Government Entomologists Association says that the increase in temperature to over 32 degrees Celsius has contributed to the increased density of mosquito larvae across the islands.
In 2014, there was a spike in the number of patients. In 2017 too, with temperatures of more than 32 degrees Celsius being reported in some areas, there has been an increase in the density of insects.
The Minister of Health has planned a special dengue eradication program for the 18th and 19th of May. 90 lives have been lost to dengue this year, with 44,000 cases reported.
If we do not collectively act to prevent the breeding of mosquitoes, dengue will spread to unthinkable proportions and the entire country will face the situation.
Computer experts say that Sri Lanka too has been affected by the WannaCry ransomware attack.
The ransomware has already affected more than 200,000 computers in about 150 countries. Experts say that Sri Lanka joined the map of countries affected by the virus this morning. Parakum Patrina, Executive Committee member of the Computer Society of Sri Lanka, says they do not know the extent of the harm caused at present. Patrina underscored the importance of updating operating systems and antivirus software to guard against the ransomware. Meanwhile, Microsoft has hit out at the US government's stockpiling of cyber weapons for facilitating attacks such as the WannaCry ransomware. In a strongly worded blog post yesterday, Microsoft's General Counsel Brad Smith wrote, "The governments of the world should treat this attack as a wake-up call."
And that's a look at Primetime News for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Arundhati Undannaika.
And I'm Shaun Silva. Take care and good night.